Hello and welcome to the club. I'm your host Mars, and this is the second installment of Stoppage Time, the Upper 90 Club's Evergreen content series that includes storytelling and interviews surrounding the Columbus Crew. For this segment, Ben, Trey, and I sit down with Hady Raphael, one of the co-hosts of the Ball is Round podcast. It's a CF Montreal podcast, and we thought it would be a good opportunity to talk to someone close to the Crew's new coach, Wilfried Nancy, learn about his tactics, playing style, coaching style, etc., and see what we might have in store for next season. So hope you all enjoy the discussion, and let's jump in. This is your host, Mars. I'm here in the club with Ben and Trey. Also, we're joined by Hady Raphael from the Ball is Round podcast. Hady, welcome to the club.
Oh, thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, man.
So let's jump in and kind of tell us about the Ball is Round and your role, how things got started. Jump right in.
Wow. Yeah, so the Ball is Round. The Ball is Round. We started the Ball is Round. At first, it was called Soccer by Paul and Hady. So I was a co-founder with my dear friend Paul Vance. And we started a podcast. We just wanted to talk about soccer. We weren't really thinking about anything in particular. So we started talking, it was in 2019. We were talking about, the first episode we made was about the Champions League final, the UEFA Champions League final between Tottenham and Liverpool.
Yeah.
So that was our first episode ever. And you know, we liked it, and we were like, okay, you know what? Why not? We're starting to build something. And every time we had a different subject. At one point, we talked about memories of the Champions League, and then we started talking about national teams, and then we talked about a lot of stuff. And at one point, we started to talk about Montreal, and we realized that fans liked that subject because there's not a lot of content about CF Montreal. Back then, it was Montreal Impact.
Right.
About CF Montreal in English. Most of the content is in French.
Yeah.
So we started discussing CF Montreal, and we rebranded. We had Sam joined us, and then Eve joined us, and then Paul had to go back to Northern Ireland, where he's from. So he had to leave the podcast. So now we're the three of us. So Sam Savvy, Eve Powell, and myself, Hady Raphael.
I think it's funny that you guys started on the final. Like, it kind of reminds me of how we started like in September, where we had to win every game to make the playoffs and proceeded to fall on our faces and give up several points to Montreal in the 11th hour of each of those latter season games. Yeah. And it was like, maybe this is not a great time to start a new podcast, but it just like it sounds like what you described is, a topic kind of goes off season, you find something else to talk about, right?
Exactly. But again, the objective was not to talk about Montreal at first. And it's just that, like, fans, they liked when we talked about Montreal the first time, they were like, you know what, you should do that more. And we're like, okay. Yeah. So we started doing that.
So how long have you been have you been in Montreal, and have you been a fan of the team? Oof. I mean, you kind of described leading the discussion to Montreal, but yeah, your fandom probably predated that. Yeah.
Yeah. I came in Montreal in 2001 myself. So I'm born in Lebanon, and I came to Montreal in 2001. At first, I didn't even know there was soccer in Montreal, to be very honest. And even if the Montreal Impact existed back then, I became a fan of the Montreal Impact in 2009. I think I watched the first game in 2009, and back then it was the Champions League, and the famous game between Montreal Impact and Santos Laguna, where it was very heartbreaking for Montreal fans, where there was a big remontada, like we all know in soccer, that we all know that term in soccer, right? So it was very heartbreaking, and I was like, oh, there's a team in Montreal.
Oh, that's how you figured it out? Oh.
Yeah, I didn't even know it existed. So in 2010, I started going to Saputo Stadium. That was brand new because it was only built in 2008. So the first season was in 2008. And And yeah, I became a fan first. And in 2017, I started producing content, soccer content. I had a website, I used to write, I had 7 different podcasts at the same time. It was crazy times.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. So that's how I started to love Montreal, the CF Montreal now. I became a season ticket holder in 2012. And
Okay.
Sam, I think, became a fan in 2005, Eve in 2015. So we're like 3 different eras of supporters. So it's pretty nice. Our discussions are nice.
Yeah. So you're talking about all of your outlets. We mentioned the podcast, The Ball Is Round, and we'll link to all of your outlets in our episode and our socials. But why don't you just take a minute and kind of talk through how listeners, before we jump in, how listeners can hear more from you?
Okay, so audio-wise, you can go on every podcast, like audio, program that you use, Spotify, whatever you want, it's there. But where we usually live stream videos, so you can always go watch us and interact with us live.
Awesome.
On our Twitter page, so TBIR Montreal. You can go on our YouTube also, the channel The Ball Is Round Montreal. And if you want to interact with us, not during episodes, but you want to send us picture, whatever, or, messages or whatever you want, you can also go on Instagram on TBIR Montreal also. So these are our main platforms that we use right now. And yeah.
So how do you, what's the supporters section like up there? How involved are you all as the content creators? What's your role in the larger supporters family of Montreal up there?
Okay, the concept behind The Ball Is Round right now in 2022, it is a bit a mix of different kinds of supporters, if you want to know, or different kinds of lovers of the game. So first of all, you have Sam, who's a former player that played semi-professional. You have Eve, that's a fan in a supporters group for the CF Montreal. And there's me, that's more the media in CF Montreal. So most of our discussions, we try to have a different angle, each one of us, to have different kind of takes on every subject.
That's awesome.
Well, so before we talk about Nancy, I know Belgium crashed out of the World Cup, and on the sideline, I saw a couple shots of Henry there. I know that he had a turbulent or just kind of a rocky tenure there as coach at Montreal, right, with COVID and everything else. I wanted to just share a couple things about Henry before I ask you about what that was like, because he's just such a superstar. I regret that one of our co-hosts, Hawes, is not here, but I remember the first time he came to New York Red Bull. I think he had just signed and had not yet played, and he was in Columbus, and he was just kind of there to scope out the new teammates kind of thing. And we beat Red Bull. I think it was a thumping, like 4-0 or something. And then when we were walking down the exit tunnel kind of thing, he just happened to intersect with us and be right in front of us on the stairs as we were walking out. And Haas starts taunting Thierry Henry,
of course,
he's
of
saying
all people, yeah.
domination. And I'm like, and look at them now. Haas was right to trash talk at that time, because Thierry Henry has gone on to do nothing, and he was right to do that. But the other thing I wanted to say about Henry was
Terry
that
Henry.
Terry Henry, when he came back as a player, when he was suited up and played for Red Bull, he scored from a corner kick our goalie.
Yeah,
I remember that.
Yeah. And this poor guy, Matt Lampson, I think it was Lampson, wasn't it? He was like a backup.
Yeah,
We had
probably.
some injuries, Grunenbaum a few years back, but it was many years back. But yeah, it was just one of these things like, yeah, that was the guy that
Full
we were
circle.
trash talking. And of course, he's just like a legend and a superstar. So
Yeah.
what was your experience cheering for him as the coach during the time that he was there?
Yeah, it's a bit of a tricky question because I wasn't really when you gave me the question, I wasn't even sure if I gave you the run of the mill answer or if I was gonna give you my honest opinion. But you know what? And I decided that I'm gonna give you my opinion. He's not my favorite coach. He's not someone that I really like as a coach. He talks a lot. Too much and never says much, in my opinion. And people are just amazed by every syllable that comes out of his mouth. And I'm like, he's not saying anything. So yeah, but he did well in Montreal. He did well in Montreal. Yeah. He brought new ideas, but I'm not sure he would have done good in year 2.
Yeah,
but it was fun, as a media. As a member of the media, it was nice because I had the opportunity to ask questions to Thierry Henry.
Yeah.
That's always nice,
of course.
It's always nice, and to be able to be close to him, and I used to see him on TV, and he was just in front of me.
You're going through some of the same. You're describing some of the same things that like not every professional athlete has to be good at everything else, right? And if he talked more than he won and didn't show up the way that he should have, then maybe it wasn't meant to be anyway. And he can still be a great player and not be a great coach, right?
Exactly. So, there's a lot of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. He may not be remembered as the Montreal Impact coach. Right. He'll probably be remembered as a really good footballer. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's move forward. I mean, this is why we invited you on. We want to talk about Nancy. Just kind of get your feel as a supporter of his team for the last couple years. We want to know what we can look forward to and just your opinion on how things went while he was in Montreal.
Things went very well, as you can see. The results were here. Rocky start, of course, because it's very hard to be the successor of someone like Thierry Henry that takes a lot of place.
Yeah, sure.
No, he did very well. He's a coach that's. There's a lot of things to say about him because he's a coach that sometimes is very annoying with his ideas, but also when they work, you're in awe in front of Wilfried Nancy. And it's a bit of mixed emotions most of the time and during the season. Now, we had a great season last year. I think it's the best season ever for CF Montreal in MLS. Mm-hmm. So he's leaving the club on a very, very, very big high.
Awesome.
So, so if you want to talk about tactics and stuff, we can, dive into this, or I don't know what do you want me to say more about Wilfried Nancy and his style of play, but...
we're going to dig real deep.
There's a lot to say.
Yeah, because the reality is, so he got hired and I knew of him just because of last season. And I was like, sweet. I paid attention, especially for the U.S. men's national team with Jordy and stuff like that. And it was awesome watching you guys just go out and just stomp teams. So I was like, okay, I just now know of this coach. So when he got hired or when there was even rumors, I pulled up his, who else has he coached, besides this? And it pretty much was like, oh, he was just an assistant. And then he was CF Montreal starting March, of 2021. And now he's the crew coach. I'm like, oh, so he hasn't really been a coach that long. There's not a whole lot for me to. So I was like, that's why I got to talk to somebody because and he came on with the rebranding, right?
No.
Like that was when you guys rebranded, or was that Terry? Was that Henry?
That was Thierry Henry, and he was like the face of the rebrand.
Yeah,
They thought that they would make a big bang by having Thierry Henry as the face of the rebrand, but big fail. So
we did that with Porter, but our logo is a little bit different than yours. Real quickly before we go on, I did want to ask, like, with the rebrand, did you like the rebrand? Was in Montreal, was that generally like the crest being different and then going to, what is it, Club de Foot or CF Montreal as opposed to the Impact?
Listen, about 90% of the people hated everything about the rebrand. And
okay.
Our take on the pod was like, we're going to talk about it once and then we're going to move on. Because we don't want to be that pod that's annoying and repeating the same thing all over again. And you know what? A lot of other pods only did that. We didn't want to do that. Yeah. We just wanted to talk about it once, and that's it. And we did. We gave our honest opinion. We don't like it, but you know what? We're still going to support our club, and let's move on to the next episode.
Smart.
So that's what
cool.
we did.
Yeah, I always just wondered because, the term like the Impact or whatever in Central Ohio, there are teams called the Impact. That was like one of the names that, the clubs, the clubs went by around here. So it was like, I always liked the Impact. I was always like, oh, cool. That's like a normal, when you switched it away, I'm like, oh man, like, are they going to do that to the Crew? Is it just going to be, and they tried really hard. So like, there's a lot of parallels between what like you guys were going through and us. I mean, no one tried to take your club away from your city, but the rest was like almost spot on. I was like, we hate the crest. And you're like, we hate the crest. It's like, okay, well,
let's say yet.
Nobody tried to club away from the city.
Yet.
Yeah.
We'll see.
It's All right. Anyway, sorry. I just wanted to get that take because I was always like, I wonder, I kind of wondered what they all thought, but I guess it makes sense. All right. Anyway. Okay. So when I looked online when we got it, he sets up in what I thought was like a 4-3-2-1, which the first thing I thought was like, the elf, like, oh, a Christmas tree. Like, it's just a Christmas tree. I was like, what is that? Because we switched from a 4-2-3-1 to a 4-3-3. And it seemed like a lot of teams, that was like the 2019, 2020 standard go-to. And now people are like messing with 3 in the back and whatnot. But this is something, a 4-3-2-1 or explain like how he liked to set up. Because I didn't.
He never had a 4-3-2-1. Never. He sets up in 3-5-2 or 3-4-3 with the different variations of the 3-5-2 and a 3-4-3. So sometimes 3-4-2-1. Sometimes you're gonna see a 3-6-1. I like to call it, even if it's not the right term. Yeah. So it's mostly a 3 at the back, 3 center backs.
Interesting. Okay.
Never changed that, and that's something that was annoying at times, but you know what, he made it work every time. But variations of 3-5-2 and 3-4-3 99.9% of the time.
Okay, so he always played 3 in the back. What made that annoying? Did he play with wing backs?
Yeah, he played with wing backs. It's funny because he played with a wing back that was more like an old winger that stays close to the line with Alistair Johnston on the right, and he played with Lassi Lapalainen on the left, who's a former winger. So it was his first time around playing a wing back position. He didn't know how to defend. So at first we were very annoyed by that because we didn't have a proper left wing back. But you know what? Lassie made it happen for us, and which is very crazy. And what was annoying also is sometimes we needed more bodies up front, and we didn't need those 3 players at the back, and he never made a change to pull off a center back and enter and put a midfielder in the on the pitch, or even a forward on the pitch for a center back. we never saw that. He used to change everything around, but the 3 center backs were always here.
So it was more defensive.
So that was annoying. No, not at all.
Okay.
Not at all. And that's what's very interesting about Wilfried Nancy. Very offensive coach. Very, very offensive coach. But he likes his center backs to be very versatile. So you'll see a Kamal Miller. I'm pretty sure you know who Kamal Miller is now. So Kamal Miller, he used to play him in, like, when we had the ball, he used to be kind of a midfielder. So he used to play very high up the pitch. And you had Camacho and Waterman stay behind. And sometimes when Kamal Miller was a bit tired, you would see the reverse. So you would see the right center back, which is Joel Waterman, play in the midfield because he was a former midfielder, Joel Waterman in the CPL. Mm-hmm. And Camacho and Miller stay at the back as cover. And whenever we really needed goals, you would have only Rudy Camacho in the back and both of them play in the midfield. So it's very exciting for fans when you need to push to get a goal. And I think you guys have experienced that last year twice.
Mm-hmm. Totally. Yep.
So yeah. So he's good at that.
And it works. It was effective.
Exactly.
You know, was that what Terry Henry played, or did he play was he a 4-2-3-1?
No, he played with 3 at the back with Montreal too. A lot of people say that Nancy followed the work of Henry. I'm not going to say it's 100% that. It's not true. It's kind of, I think that he found something in Henry, like a start in Henry, and then he developed it very, very well. So maybe, Thierry Henry's ideas were maybe the birth of what Nancy, was able to accomplish. But now credit comes to Nancy 100% because he was able to play with formations to the wingbacks' roles were very different from one game to another. You would have sometimes a wingback that's usually a midfielder in Mathieu Chouanière come in and play mostly like a midfielder, a wingback that really cuts inside and play as a midfielder and create that kind of overlap in the middle of the pitch, which is really, really interesting and very different from what I've seen all around the world. So
that's
very interesting ideas. Yeah, very, very interesting ideas.
So would that switch? Okay, so it sounds like he does like to tinker. So it wasn't like the same people every single time and they all had different roles. And do you think that was like based on the game or like, on who they were playing? Or is it just like, was he basically what I'm trying to ask is like, was he just trying to find something that worked or was he like tactically trying to like play game to game?
Oh no, he's very, very intelligent tactically. He's not just trying for trying. He knows what he wants. He reads the game very well. He brings the changes, and when he makes a mistake, it's very rare that he repeats the same mistakes in the next game.
Got it.
He understands it and learns from it. And that's what's really nice about Nancy. Now, sometimes the bad of Wilfried Nancy is some players are in the doghouse.
Okay.
If he doesn't like them, he's never going to like them.
Got it.
Even if they have great games.
Awesome. So you would consider him kind of like an emotional type of coach? Because from what I've read is like some of the players actually really loved playing for him.
Yeah.
So whenever I see players like, I really like this guy, it means like, cool. But then also there's other people that are like, I don't like this guy. Like it seems like you kind of wears his heart on his sleeve a little bit when it comes to like the players.
Yeah, it's a bit more than that. I think most of the players love the guy.
Cool.
It's just that you have 2-3 players that he doesn't like, that he's never going to play. And we've seen that with the goalkeeper situation, with Sebastian Breza being preferred in front of James Pantemis. Breza made so many mistakes, and Pantemis was never given a chance until last year where he didn't have a choice anymore because Breza made one too many mistakes.
Okay.
So it's very rare that he changes his mind. He did it once or twice, but it's very rare. So it's a bit, I don't think he's emotional. He's mostly, he likes to give whatever he can to the player. He came to the pod once. We were able to have him as a guest.
Oh, wow.
And he told us about Mason Toye, that you guys know, of course, as being a former U.S. national team player, if I'm not mistaken. Mm-hmm. So he's like, you know what? Mason Toye loves to train. At one point, he's injured. He just came back from injury. He played 20 minutes, and he still wanted to train right after the game. And he's like, you know what? Most of the coaches would have said, no, you cannot train. And he looked at Mason Toye and he wanted to win him in a way. And he wanted him to have something and to have a win for his own, how can we say, his own ego in a way?
Yeah. Okay.
So he's like, you know what? I'll give you 20 shots on goal. And he gave him 20 shots on goal. And Mason Toye was like, you know what? At least we reached an agreement. There was a compromise. There wasn't a no, and that's it. I'm the coach and I'm the one that decides, and that's it. Go back to your room. It's mostly, he tries to find compromises with players, and that's what players like about him. So yeah, I wouldn't say emotional. I would say emotionally intelligent 90% of the time.
So he came in as an assistant to be the head coach. And so he probably had developed relationships and rapport with most of the existing players. I don't know enough about if there was turnover on the playing team when he took over. Do you remember anything like that? I mean, I guess I'm just kind of thinking like we're looking at who we're going to keep around and how pieces are going to fit into his plan. And I hear you talking a lot about relationships and just being opinionated and having a feeling for who he wants to see on the pitch. What was it like from a personnel standpoint when he took the helm?
We didn't know what to expect because, as Ben said, it was his first coaching job.
Yeah.
So we we didn't know what to expect from him. Really made it work with everything that Olivier Renard gave him. The thing here in Montreal, it's a bit different from what I understand, a bit different from what happens at the Crew. The manager doesn't decide who he gets as players. It's Olivier Renard, the sporting director, that decides which players the coach is going to have, and the coach has to be okay with it and play whoever he wants. So he doesn't have a say in the decisions.
I think it varies, right, guys, from coach to coach in Columbus.
Yeah, Bez controls a lot of that stuff. I don't know how much dialogue he has with the coach. I mean, especially now. I mean, where we're at with the Crew right now is we kind of gutted. We got rid of like a lot of people. We have 8 vacancies, I think.
Yeah.
If there's a 30-man roster, I think we have 21 filled. And we have our Crew 2 team is awesome. Some of those guys like got promoted up and moved up and performed super well. And we are like the U.S. men's national team is looking at stuff. Russell Rowe, our striker, is Canadian. He is awesome. Yeah,
but like you have Farsi. You have Farsi. Man.
Oh, Farsi.
Like Farsi is my Farsi. I had him as a guest in one of my shows 3 years ago. So I know him.
Oh, really?
I know him from far back. He's an amazing player. We really wanted him at Montreal.
Yeah, he's going to be the perfect wingback.
Yeah.
So we have actually a decent amount of like quote unquote wingbacks that are available, which kind of stinks because we also had Pedro Santos, like a longtime guy who moved from left wing to back, and it's just like, oh, perfect. And then he now is at DC, and it's like kind of a heartbreak. But I mean, we'll see, because I mean, we still have like a ton of vacancies. So I wonder how much all this is going to be, because it sounds like he's turning our program on its head, because the way we play is like completely different, or was last year.
I listened to the press conference of Wilfried Nancy, the unveiling of the press of Wilfried Nancy in Columbus. And what really surprised me is Tim Bezbatchenko saying that Wilfried Nancy turned down 2 or 3 players already.
Really?
You would never see that in Montreal. Never.
Wait, what do you mean turned down? Like he they were going to sign him, and he said no. I must have missed that.
No, yeah, it was something that Bess had taken to him a couple of different options, and given him, and he kind of was like, no, not for my system.
Prospective player, not existing roster players.
Okay,
which is cool because I think there is that flexibility with the roster to have those spaces that are open from Santos leaving and Arturo leaving, to be able to work with Nancy and bring in players that will work with the system.
I wonder if that wasn't part of the
deal.
Yeah, I know other people wanted him, and even Montreal wanted to keep. And I wonder if Bez wasn't like, "Come with us. You can kind of pick your people.
Yes.
I'll clear the roster." And now we're clearing the roster. And,
I'm pretty sure.
Which is cool.
I mean, I'm sure money was a thing, but I agree with Trey. Like, I think that's actually pretty cool and admirable. And
I think one thing I'm also hearing from Hady is kind of a lot of parallels between Nancy and Berhalter.
Player management.
Very cerebral, very much a player's coach. Willing to work and compromise and do things, but he has very cerebral tactics in terms of how he wants to play. So I'm actually getting more and more excited about this. I was excited. I was happy. I think it's a good hiring, but it was more of an unknown. I told Ben multiple times, I want to be excited. I just don't know what to be excited about.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love the parallel. I love the parallel with Berhalter because I think they're pretty close. I think that Nancy is a bit more modern in the way the game is played right now than Berhalter, in my opinion.
Yep. Okay. I agree. Completely agree.
So I think it's going to be very interesting. Tactically, guys, you're going to love it because I think, doing the pod since 2019, it's the first year where we had fun with tactical discussions in our pod.
Yeah,
it's amazing. If you love tactics on a soccer pitch, you're gonna love Wilfried Nancy, and you're gonna hate him sometimes. You're gonna love him sometimes. But pods, the content of your pods is gonna be amazing.
Oh, awesome!
All the time.
Because we pretty much copy and pasted the first 4 pods. We're like, what happened was we were winning and we tied. Anybody else got anything to say? And everyone's like, nope. It's like the same team played. It's like, we made 1 sub and it was a winger that wasn't doing anything for a winger that doesn't do anything.
Unless it was Montreal and then we tied and then we lost.
Yeah.
It was bleep, bleep, Kai Kamara, bleep, George.
Right. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Fair play to Kai.
Mm-hmm. So how are you feeling? I mean, what's the temperature like in Montreal? How do you feel about him leaving, and what's the outlook for what's next?
Listen, it's disappointing. Very disappointing, of course, because we love Wilfried Nancy. You all know the history of CF Montreal. We're the kind of club that changes coach every year. Most of the time. And we had something that was kind of solid for once. And unfortunately, he's not here anymore. The whole story behind it is a big misunderstanding with the owner. I would say misunderstanding, like really, yelling at each other.
They got into it.
Yeah.
They really got into it.
So I did want to ask about that because all I read was just the fluff pieces of there was a misunderstanding and I don't think he's going to stay. But what actually happened? Can you pair it? You don't have to go too deep into it, but just kind of, that's kind of where I was like, oh, maybe he's emotional because he got into an actual altercation with the owner.
Our owner is very passionate.
Okay.
Very, very, very passionate. Okay. And sometimes his actions after a loss are a bit extreme. So there was that loss at Stade Saputo against the bottom team in the league that was Sporting Kansas City that happened in Montreal. And Joey Saputo wasn't happy at all. And from what I've heard and I read and everything, he went to talk to the coaches and he wanted to go into the dressing room. And Wilfried Nancy told him, no, this is my dressing room. You're not allowed to come in.
With players?
Yeah.
And everything? Oh, God. Okay.
So Joey Saputo is a very, he's a rich man. He's a very, very big ego. And yeah, he didn't really like that. And Wilfried Nancy said, "These are my values. This is my dressing room. You're not allowed to come in."
Sure.
And yeah, so I'm not going to go into too much details, but it was very, very, very tough for for Nancy and the staff for the rest of the year. Rumors say that Saputo wanted to fire him right away, and players rallied around Wilfried Nancy to say, "No, you keep him here."
That's kind of awesome.
And the players won. Yeah, the players won, and he stayed. At the end of the year, Joey Saputo tried to mend fences and to try to convince him to stay, but his mind was already made. He was like, "No way, I'm done."
Too little, too late.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I also read, I thought something he was only making like $180K.
No,
that year
that's not true.
like that.
That's not true. He had a good salary. It was only a 1-year contract, and just because it was a 2-year contract.
It's his first coaching job. Like, okay,
exactly. No, at first he had a 1-year contract, and then Olivier Renard gave him an extension, so he re-signed a new contract with a much higher an increase in his salary. And this year the proposition was for 3 years with a very, very good salary.
Got it.
If you look at the salaries in MLS, he would have been not in the top, but like very, very well placed as coaches around MLS.
Okay.
So no, not a salary, mostly a clash in values between the owner and the coach.
Yeah. Well, he won't have that here. Yep. I mean, we're not the Browns, so I'm not entirely sure that the Browns know that they also own
the Cleveland Browns.
We just kind of like us too, right?
The crew. So I don't want to speak ill of the Haslams because they saved our team. But I will say, and I'm not local, but like I don't know that I would describe Jimmy Haslam as passionate about our team in a way where he would barge into the dressing room and shake down the players for losing. I mean, and again, I don't want to speak ill of them, but like they're used to losing in Cleveland.
Yeah.
And so like
it's kind of their thing.
Oh wow.
Yeah. I'm a bit of a Cleveland fan too, so it's
and that's okay.
Rough.
I mean, everything is relative. If you have a team that loses all the time, like you can still appreciate the other things like the food and the beer. Yeah.
The level of patronizing here is hilarious. It's okay. Yeah. It's totally fine. Yeah, you guys have great concessions.
I love the Haslams.
It's nice.
I love the Haslams. Thank you.
Yeah,
thank you, Haslams.
They're wonderful.
Never,
but hearing it would be hard to imagine something like that happening in Columbus. With the current state of our
current state
hierarchy.
Of the crew.
Yeah. So what's the word on the street? Do you have any inkling of what's next? I know you all have some player turnover as well.
It's the end of a cycle. Soccer is all about cycles, right? So I know that a lot of fans are very, very mad to see all these players go. Kone leaving, Alistair Johnston leaving, Victor Wanyama leaving. So many players leaving. Georgi Mihailovic, of course, leaving.
Jordy.
And others, right? We don't have...
Those are some heavy hitters, man.
Yeah, and we don't have a goalkeeper right now. Like, we have the third goalkeeper that's here. So we don't have a goalkeeper. Our 2 goalkeepers are gone. So there's a lot to build. But again, this is a good thing for CF Montreal in a way, because the reason why it's a good thing is we're now being renowned on the world stage as being a club that has a talent of developing players, young players, into suitable players for Europe.
Yes.
And that's not a small task nowadays, right? It's very hard for
Yes.
Yeah. It's very hard for clubs to be that kind of a stepping stone for players, for young players to achieve their dreams in a way. So I think it's nice for Montreal because
Perfect.
they look at all the players in MLS that want to reach Europe one day. They're looking at Montreal and saying, you know what? I'm going to go to that club because they made it happen for 4 or 5 guys already. So I'm going to choose that club.
Yeah.
And I think that's very interesting. And I think in my mind, very exciting because I love transfer windows, by the way, guys. I'm someone that thrives on transfer windows. So it's my favorite part of the year. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see what's going to come. And
the
new coach, is it going to be Bobby Smirniotis? I don't know if you heard about him. Bobby Smirniotis is the coach of Forge FC in the Canadian Premier League. He won the title of the Canadian Premier League 3 times out of 4. He went to the CONCACAF League semi-final, so it's the kind of the small sister of the CONCACAF Champions League. He's a very good coach. He used to coach in Olympiakos, the Greek club, one of the biggest Greek clubs in the world, in Greece.
Yeah, are they're Champions League typically, right?
Yes, they're most of the time. He used to coach in the youth programs, but still he has coached and he has learned from in a very big club. So he's one of the rumors. There might be others. We're waiting. We're really impatient and we can't wait to know the name of the new coach. That's for sure.
Well, I will tell you this. Of course, we hope you all land on your feet, and I'm sure you will. In 2015, Caleb Porter came to Columbus with the Timbers and beat us at home in the MLS Cup final. Only to go on to be our coach and win the MLS Cup final for Columbus. So if history repeats itself, expect some late goals from us when we're playing Montreal. But other than the head-to-heads, I hope for nothing but the best for you guys, and I appreciate you making time to talk with us about the coach and your podcast. It's been great getting to know you.
Yeah, thanks a lot for having me, guys. It was really fun, and maybe next time you'll be the ones invited to the Ball is Round to talk a bit about the crew.
Well, Porter's available, so I wouldn't be surprised if you hop on Porter, and then we'll literally have the same thing, except it won't be like we're bummed. We'll be like, here's the deal. Your pod's gonna be boring now. There's not a whole lot going on. But I don't know. I really like what you said about being a club that can, good players would want to come to because it's a stepping stone. And I think for, clubs like you guys and us that aren't LA or New York, where it's like they can buy the people and they're already seasoned. It's awesome to be like, oh, where can you go from here? Because we have somebody like Aiden Morris, who I think has a high ceiling.
Love him.
And it's
love him.
Yeah,
love him.
I think he's awesome.
It's a better culture for these guys to get mentored than to just be brought in as a hired piece of a larger puzzle where, everything, I mean, I know it's sports and it's transactional, but I think when you have a coach who can take an interest in developing these guys, there is a stronger rapport and a stronger locker room, familial kind of vibe that you get out of a program like that. So I'm all for it.
And even on a bigger scope, when you look at the international stage, watching what Toronto's able to do, Montreal, Vancouver, and bringing in the Canadian players to be able to move them, and what that team did in the past 2 or 3 years was absolutely amazing. And it's fun to see. It's great. I think U.S. fans would easily say it's great having Canada good. It's great having Mexico good, even though they're terrible. But it's.
But also, Toronto got Bob Bradley and they were terrible, and I was just like,
I hate Toronto. I really hate Toronto.
Who?
Yeah, exactly.
I never heard about that team. No, I don't know that team.
Yeah, I think it's a Division II high school up there.
Yeah, I don't know. Never heard about that city.
I went to Niagara. Yeah. It's like the same thing.
It's like me talking. Yeah, it's like me talking to you about Cincinnati, right?
Yep.
Yeah. I've been on the pod. We're more of an Austin, like can't stand Austin with the owner and
I
hate Cincy. Just
half the team is ex crew. Yeah, so I mean,
we're kind of hot and cold on Cincy. Yeah. They're more of a sibling than an enemy,
second cousin.
Yeah. Like their parents were brother sister type deal.
It is half in Kentucky.
All right. Thanks, Hady.
Thank you for everything, guys, and see you soon. If you need anything else, reach out. No worries at all.
Thanks again for making time for us, and hope to talk to you again sometime in the future.
Yeah, come to Columbus. We'll hang out, and I'm pretty sure Haas isn't allowed in Canada. Well, some of us will head up there.
Yeah, that's right.
Awesome.
So,
okay. Hope to see you soon, guys.
Yep.
See you guys.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
All right, see you.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone, for joining the club. We hope you'll listen next week and every week, even in the off-season, to celebrate or commiserate. We'll save you a seat. If you like this podcast, please give us 5 stars and subscribe. You can email us at upper90clubpod@gmail.com. That's upper90clubpod@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at upper90clubpod. Go Crew! Hot takes.
Well, I just want to apologize. It's English is my third language, so sometimes I'm gonna
humble brag.
Look for words. So sorry about that. So
no, I want to apologize too because English is our first language and we can barely speak it. Like we'll be tripping over words like